If you've ever wished you could make dua with the unwavering confidence of a 5-year-old, welcome to today's episode. Today I'll be sharing a heartwarming story that I hope will change the way that you approach dua. Assalamu alaikum friends, this is Maryam from Sisters Flourish, where I share what I'm learning about the power of combining dua with productivity. Okay, so a few days ago, while I was praying, I heard my 5-year-old in the background say, "I know she will give it to me." You see, my kids love to wear my clothes and pretend to be mama. That day, Mr. 8 was wearing my hoodie, and so Mr. 5 wanted something of mine to wear too. The only thing in sight at that time was my prayer hijab, which I was using to pray. Mr. 5 saw me praying, and so he sat next to me and he waited patiently. As soon as I finished praying, he asked, "Mama, can I have your hijab?" I wasn't ready to give it to him yet, so I said, "I'm not done." He said, "Okay," and then he walked out of the room. The way that he asked me in the first place reminds me of the dua of Zakaria alayhi salam, where he said, "My Lord, surely my bones have become brittle and gray hair has spread across my head, but I have never been disappointed in my prayer to you, my Lord." Zakaria alayhi salam wanted a son, right? But he was old and his wife was barren. But still, he asked Allah anyway. And he said, "I have never been disappointed in my dua to you." I want you and I to be able to ask Allah anyway, even if what we're asking for seems too big or too much. And I want us to be able to ask Allah, not from a place of fear and doubt, but from a place of, I know He will give me what I ask for. Anyway, after I told Mr. 5 I wasn't done, he left the room. And when he was right outside the room, he announced loud and proud to Mr. 8 and to whoever else was listening to him, "Mama's gonna give me her hijab." I don't know if I'm going too deep with my reflection on this, but the whole thing reminded me so much of how I want us to be when we make dua to Allah. There are 3 lessons that I took away from the whole encounter, and I'm going to share them now. Lesson number 1, just ask. Sometimes we don't make dua because to us it may seem like we won't get what we ask for. We think we're too old or too sinful or too unqualified. Your fears are valid, but still your job and my job is to ask anyway. Just like Zakaria alayhi salam, who had a huge request. He wanted a child when he was old and his wife was barren, but he knew that he was asking Allah himself, and so he asked anyway. Let you and me put our limitations to the side for a bit so that we can be brave and audacious when we make dua. Lesson number 2, tie your camel. A few minutes after Mr. 5 made his loud and proud announcement, he came back into the room and he saw that I was now done praying. He came and he sat on me, he smiled at me, and he said, "Hello, Mama," even though he had just left the room 5 minutes before that. Then he hugged me and he looked at me and then he asked me nicely, "Can I have your hijab?" The lesson that I took from this is, I need to tie my camel first. We sometimes get hasty when we make dua. Sometimes we really want that job or that car, and we simply dive right into our dua and we also expect an immediate response. But we learn from various ahadith to start by praising Allah first, then send salutations upon His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then raise our hands, then call on Allah by His most beautiful names, and then we make our request. We also learn the importance of not being hasty. Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah beautifully summarized 13 ways that we can improve our dua in his book, The Disease and the Cure. I compiled those 13 points into a handy checklist, which you can find in the description box. Another part of tying our camel is to increase in good deeds and to make a conscious effort to repent and stay away from sins. Lesson number 3, wait, but don't lose hope while you wait. When Mr. 5 left the room, he could have gone away and said, "Mama didn't give it to me the first time I asked." But he held on to that confidence and that excitement that he had. And he even announced to others, "Mama's gonna give me her hijab." So when you ask and the response is not immediate, Don't let anything or anyone shake your trust in Allah. Let trust take up more space in your heart than worry. Remind yourself that Allah knows what's best for you. Acknowledge, not only in your heart, but on your tongue and through your actions as well, that Allah will give you and you will be pleased. Remind yourself of the ayah in Surah Ad-Duha, the translation of which is, "And your Lord is going to give you and you will be satisfied." Remind yourself that Allah is Al-Hakim. This means that everything that happens or does not happen is according to His wisdom. Waiting for your dua to be accepted is not passive, but it's an active expression of your trust in Allah. Let your affirmation be, if Allah has not yet responded to my dua, then there's good in my waiting period. As you keep going on your dua journey and as you keep waiting for some of your requests to be granted, remember the confidence, patience, and unwavering faith of a 5-year-old. Don't stop trusting Allah and don't stop asking Him. May your du'as be answered and may your heart be filled with the certainty that your Lord will surely give you and you will be pleased. Don't forget to like and subscribe if this video resonates with you, and please share it with someone who needs a boost in their dua or in their waiting period.